Bine v-am găsit la o nouă ediție a emisiunii Povești cu cântec la Cube TV. Sunt Zoltan Varga și astăzi am parte de 3 invitați. Am să încep cu Emil Bibel.
Ciao, bine v-am găsit.
Eric Fretz. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome. Neville.
Hello.
First of all, I want to ask you if you can make a short introduction of yourself. Neville.
I am a musician. I'm back in the United States, do experimental music. I've done experimental music for dance. Got into photography and then into films. I've made several experimental films, and this is my first documentary, and my first documentary with Eric.
Eric?
Yeah, I'm a professor of American Studies at Regis University in Denver, Colorado, and done this film. I've been a Fulbright Scholar twice here in Timișoara, so I've lived in Timișoara for 9 months over the course of the past 10 years.
9 months, so you know Timișoara.
I know Timișoara. Yeah, I love the city.
That's the connection between you and Timișoara and Romania. But why did you choose to make a film about the revolution and the music in Timișoara?
Yeah, well, I met Emil in 2016 when I was a Fulbright Scholar.
So
and,
10 years ago.
10 years ago,
Well,
yeah.
A lot of time.
It's a long time, yeah. And he told me that a little bit about his life in the 1980s, and 70s and 80s. He was smuggling rock and roll records into the country. So I wanted to come back and do an oral history project with him. And so finally in 2025, I was able to get another Fulbright award to come back. And I thought, I wasn't sure what was going to happen, but when I was here in the spring then, I started talking to lots of people, and I realized pretty quickly that there was a really vibrant rock and roll culture here in the 1980s, which I knew nothing about. So ordinary people.
But did you know something about this, about Eastern Europe in general?
Yeah, but
about
just,
what did you know about us before you came here?
Yeah, I knew like abstract history about what happened in Eastern Europe during the Cold War. So,
What did you read in the manuals?
yeah, what I read in recorded
Right.
history. But what I didn't know and what I found just so fascinating was the stories of ordinary people here in Timișoara who were performing and writing their own rock and roll songs that had some anti-regime qualities to them. And that's how I got really interested in the project, because I started to wonder, did rock and roll play any kind of role in the development or the inception of the Romanian Revolution in 1989, which is kind of what the film's about.
Neville, you're also a musician.
Yes.
What's your point of view about Romania? What do you know about Romania?
What do I know about?
What did you know about Romania
I knew
before this
nothing
trip?
really about Romanian music. Maybe Enescu, the composer.
Yeah, okay.
A little bit there. Ionesco, the writer, although I think he wrote in French. But the music I didn't know until Eric started telling me about Metamorph and Phoenix. And so I started, started listening to Phoenix, and I like progressive rock, and I like punk, I like all kinds of things. And I was listening to Phoenix, and I said, this is interesting, there's some good stuff here. And then because I like punk, I was listening to Metamorph and heard what Eric heard in it, the political message, even though it was disguised quite a bit.
But Eric knew about Romania. You didn't. You weren't here.
I did not. Yes, I live in Colorado.
Yeah, so you're the first time here.
Yes, this is my second day here.
Okay, and how do you describe Romania, or what you've seen till this moment?
The history seems to be entwined with the present here. More so than Colorado. We don't have much history there. And I think about your history, all the history I've learned since doing this project with Eric, and I feel like your history is our present-day circumstances in some way. Your history is maybe our future, and that's a scary thought.
Yeah. Emil, să te întreb și pe tine, cum te-ai cunoscut cu Eric?
La o bere.
La o bere, foarte frumos. La o bere. interview.
He comes in Viniloteca with his family, nice, very nice family, 10 years ago, and he start to like the place. I don't know why, but he knows for sure. And we start to talk about. Really, he asked me what I do before, and I say to him, smuggling music. Huh? How? Smuggling music here? Why? Because you don't have music, and in that time we really don't have music from Western. Actually, it was about Western music because in Romania we have music, but okay, low, low quality. I don't know.
Low quality.
I don't know. And I start with this. We start with this, and another thing after the 90, I was a pirate. I recorded cassettes, audio cassettes, and he was puzzled, like, how come? And say, I have 100.
You had a shop. You had a shop,
also, but
illegal shop.
It was legal, but illegal with illegal stuff. It was legal, but
The shop was legal. Yeah,
the shop was legal. And you don't know. In that time was legal and what I sell in Romania because we don't have the.
Yeah, I know. I was joking.
Yeah, you was
He's
not
very
nice.
sensitive about that.
Yes, and I said to him, I have a wall full of tape recorders. He said, how come? Like this, and I make every hour 100 cassettes and stuff like this. And from this, and he goes home and think. He come back. I think we need to have a discussion, something like that, about what you're doing, what is happening in time of Ceausescu with rock and roll. And I say, in time of Ceausescu, I wasn't in the front. I was part of the crowd. Yeah. I was the guy who goes to the shows, and one guy I don't organize nothing, and I was the guy from the crowd, and I see that history from the crowd. I think it's the right place to see that history.
It's very interesting, this film, because we live here and we have a perspective. You are coming from over the seas, seven seas, and you have another perspective of this, what happened here. Yeah. I'm curious about, you talked with a lot of guys from here. What's the perspective of the film? How do you see it? Revolution, a little bit of history, a little bit of music. What's the connection
it's
between
about, he told me, it's about this. The movie is not for us. The movie is from United States.
Okay.
For United States.
So this movie is not for us?
Because
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, I'll tell you, what makes me really anxious and nervous is for people like yourselves who lived through this to see the film. Because when I was doing the film, I was thinking the ideal audience for this is Americans who don't know anything. Well, two ideal audiences. The one is just Americans who don't know anything about what happened here during the communist era, or know like what I knew, just the traditional history. But what I realized there pretty quickly is that the young people here in Romania and Timișoara actually didn't know a whole lot about what was going on here during the Ceausescu era. So the other ideal audience for the film was for young people, young Romanians and young Timișoarans. So what I hope is that some young people here in Timișoara can see the film and then talk to their parents about what happened, what their parents went through and what their parents' lives were like. But yeah, I mean, like Zoli, I am worried about what you and TB and Adi and Tavi will think just because you lived through it, and you might say, well, it didn't happen like that at all. It's an imperfect film, but
everything is imperfect. Nothing is perfect.
Yeah, this is true.
We are giving these people an opportunity to tell their stories, Emil and TB and Tavi, everybody else in the film. And they're going to, points will diverge. Not everybody will have the same memories of things. I mean, you see that in the film when they're talking about the Hungarian theater concert. There's some differences in some of the details. Yeah, so people have different perspectives, but we give them an opportunity to be heard by Romanians, by Americans, by anybody else that stumbles onto this film.
How was for you to hear a lot of testimonies from the people that were, and you don't know nothing about that. How hard was it for you to make a whole picture?
It was really eye-opening in that we grew up in a fairly small town in Pennsylvania. And so when Emile was smuggling records or whatever it was you were doing, we were walking into the record shop, and for $4 you could buy
Sam Goody and buying,
you could buy a Jimi Hendrix record or
yes.
whatever, anything. Yes, I say now I have all the records I want, because of a lifetime of
So
buying
you
records.
don't understand how
It was a struggle to get records, And when you look at, I think it was happening in the Soviet Union, the records that came on X-rays, they went through the trouble of putting the records on X-rays to get them across the border, the new Rolling Stones album or what have you. Fascinating stories. So I reflected on, wow, we lived in a much different situation than people here did, and that really got me to see things in a different
Let's talk
way.
a little bit about the film itself. How long is it? And describe the film.
It's an hour long, and it's broken up into 4 separate sections. The first section is a pretty short historical overview, because that ideal audience I talked about before, of what happened here in Timișoara.
So it's like a history documentary.
Yeah, but it's quick.
The first.
Yeah, the first 7 minutes or so is pretty quick. And then the second part of the film takes a fairly in-depth look at the PM6 Club, which I knew nothing about until I started talking to Emile and Mimo and people. So there's a lot of discussion about what happened at the PM6 Club, and then how the PM6 Club at Casa Tineretului was kind of like an impetus for local bands here, because local bands, all these things, were invited to perform, and
sort of a catalyst.
Yeah, kind of a catalyst.
Catalyst.
Yeah, and then the third part of the film then is a fairly long section on the Metamorph concert at the Hungarian State Theater that took place sometime in the autumn of 1985. Nobody knows the exact date. I've asked everybody.
Maybe Emile. If Emile doesn't know it, then nobody
I don't know.
I have a poster. Tavi Pan gave me the poster from which I have framed in my office at home in Denver, but there's no date on it or anything. But that concert, the bulk of the film is really about that concert and what happened there, because the way I heard it was very much a anti-regime moment. You were there. Were you there?
No, I wasn't.
He was young.
It seemed to be
I was young.
It was a
And restless.
flashpoint,
Yeah.
A flashpoint.
Yeah. So
moment.
then the last part of the film is fairly short. It just asks the question: did rock and roll have anything to do with the beginning or the inception of?
And what's the
rebel-
answer?
There is no-
The question, I know it, but
Gives the ending away.
The answer is I think the Metamorph concert was the last song of the siren. If the revolution doesn't come, the rock and roll is going to be dead in Romania. This is
Say more. What do you mean by that?
like that, because after this was less concert, no more TM Rock, no more PM6, no more nothing. And if the revolution didn't come, everything was dead. The only band grows in that time was Cargo. All the others was go back in their studio, in their places where they rehearse. They have the rehearsal, and that's it. No more. I think after this concert was one more Team Rock. I think so, if I don't.
Yeah, it was
mistake.
86. Was the last Team Rock? I think.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we make this show before the premiere of the film. I can't ask you how was the premiere because it wasn't, but I want to ask you, you made a year or how long did you prepare this film?
Well, I left Romania in almost a year ago.
Almost a year.
Yeah, and then I went home and we started working on the film, and that's pretty much all I did for about 6 months.
You must know we have something like 100 hours of discussion we together.
I have
Oh, so from 100 hours of discussions, you made it.
Only with me.
Oh, only with you.
Only with me, my friend.
A lot
Only
of
with me.
interviews.
It's a lot of material there.
Yeah.
A lot of stupid things I said.
But I wanted to ask you the feedback that you had in America about this film. When you told somebody that you are making a film about Romania, and what was the feedback or what? There in America.
People were really intrigued by it, and then when we showed the film at Regis University, there were about 100
Yeah, you showed the film in America also.
At my university, at Regis University, there were about 100 people there, which was a really good turnout. And what I did was when the film started, I moved over to the side because I'd seen the film so many times I didn't really want to watch it again, and I just wanted to watch the people's faces.
Yeah, the faces, yeah. A
And
good feedback
it
on
was
the
really
faces.
good. People were smiling and laughing, and they were just really intrigued and curious by the film. And then we had a question and answer session afterwards, and there were some really interesting questions, and we had a robust discussion. It made me feel really good. How did you feel about it?
Yeah, same. Yeah, people really enjoyed learning something.
New things.
In America, we don't get history from other countries. No, they teach us American history, maybe a little British and French.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Well,
So
it's
this
a
was all
cultural-
new to them.
It's a cultural history, and like I said before, it's about ordinary people, and I think people like to know about other cultures and other places through the lives and the perspectives of ordinary people who are living in challenging times. And I think that's why people in America have been intrigued by the film.
This is the first step for another film of Romania, or are you planning something about Romania now that you know something? You had 100 hours of discussion with Emil.
Yeah, well,
you must make 3 films, not 1.
Yeah.
No, it would be stupid.
Yeah, I don't know. It was, I don't know. I just kind of want to be here. I'm just so glad to be back here in Timișoara and reconnecting with old friends. And I don't know what'll come of it afterwards. I'm happy with the film, and I'm just so grateful, honestly, for the people who gave me their time and told me their stories.
But if you want to make a short teaser in America from this film, how would you describe it?
Oh, yeah, I would.
Not for the Romanian audience.
I would describe it as a film about some brave, crazy young people who grew up in this town, this city in the far northwest corner of Romania, who did pretty amazing things with Western rock and roll and found a way to push back against the totalitarian regime and create imaginative and interesting lives.
When it was unsafe to do so. And we don't have that in America, that sense of, even at punk shows, it's always pretty safe. You're not going to get arrested, but these guys did this here then, and it was rebellious at a time when it was
Unsafe,
dangerous.
yes.
Yes.
Totally unsafe.
Okay, thank you for the discussion, and maybe we will make another Romanian film.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe
We'll see, yeah.
in the future.
The next one is going to be an Oscar. Or maybe this one. I don't know.
Yeah, an Oscar.
I don't know.
Okay.
Thanks, Zoli. Thank you
you
so much.
Au fost povești cu cântec și acum vă invităm să urmăriți filmul The Vinyl Revolution.
On 16 December 1989, parishioners gathered outside the Hungarian Reformed Church in Timișoara, Romania, to protect their minister, Laszlo Tokes, from being exiled by order of dictator Nicolae Ceausescu. Tokes had spoken out against the regime, and his supporters formed a human chain around his home. Soon, factory workers, students, and intellectuals joined, singing hymns and patriotic songs. What began as a defense of Tokes
quickly escalated into a mass anti-regime protest that spread into the city center. On 17 December, the army opened fire on demonstrators, sparking 3 days of state-sponsored violence. Over the following 8 days, more than 100 protesters and bystanders were killed. The scars of those days remain visible in Timișoara's buildings, where stray bullets and hastily etched crosses still mark the events. By 20 December, tens of thousands filled Piața Victoriei, demanding an end to Ceaușescu's rule. The next day, dissidents read the Timișoara Proclamation from the Opera House balcony, declaring the city free. Protests spread nationwide, and on 22 December, the army turned against Ceaușescu. That day, he and his wife Elena fled Bucharest, but were captured, tried, and executed on Christmas Day. Between 16 and 25 December, over 1,000 Romanians died in the uprising. That was the last and bloodiest revolution to end the Cold War. In the fall of 2016, I came to Timișoara as a Fulbright scholar, where I taught classes in American Studies at the University of the West. I spent a lot of time at Vinyloteca, a record shop near the site where the revolution began in 1989. And it was there that I became friends with Emil Bibel, who is the owner of Vinyloteca and a key figure in the city's rock scene since the 1970s. The shop was a gathering place for Timișoara's rock and roll veterans, many of whom I came to know. As I learned about the revolution, I wondered, why did it begin in Timișoara? What made ordinary citizens here defy Ceaușescu when other cities like Arad, Cluj, or Sibiu did not, at least not initially? Timișoara, near the Hungarian and Yugoslav borders, was distant from Bucharest's power. But revolutions don't just appear overnight. They build. People read. They talk. They whisper. And they imagine change until one day they act. I returned to Timișoara in 2025, again as a Fulbright scholar. I taught classes at the university, and I began a project looking into the nature of the Romanian Revolution and its beginnings in Timișoara. I had a lot of questions, and after living in Timișoara for 5 months, I left with some answers to those questions. But I didn't find them in history books, or museums, or journal articles. I found them in rock and roll. If I have an abiding faith in anything, it's in rock and roll, and the power of rock and roll to bring people together, to help us think about the world that we live in, and to imagine a better one. So this is a story about rock and roll. But it's more than that. It's a story about people who played and listened to rock and roll when it was dangerous to do so. So it's also a story about resistance. But then, any story about rock and roll should be about resistance to something. Otherwise, it's not really about rock and roll.
In the end of the 70s, in the early 80s, when Ceaușescu get crazy, they do this in Timișoara.
Did you go to the PM6 meetings?
Of course.
Tell me about that.
Yeah. So I think all of us did. So all of us who started to believe, because it was a creed, a belief at that time, we felt that we can be free somehow.
Everybody from Timișoara who listened to rock music and was interested in this Western culture was attending the PM6. Yeah. In 67, 68, it was first edition of PM6 Club. And it was in a building in historical center of Timișoara, building which was then named Arlus. It was the association of Romanian-Soviet friendship, Arlos. That club functioned, I don't know, maybe 4 years or so, and then it was interrupted in the 70s, and then in 81 we continued with the new PM6.
It's like this. First, it started in Casa Tineretului. I already tell you the Casa Tineretului. It's for us, it's a legend place. It was every Thursday in Timișoara. 2 guys, Petru Umansky and Mimo Bradov, and was lectures. Petru Umansky lecture about, like you do in university, and people listen to him about Beatles, about Rolling Stones, about all the bands you can think in, and we listened to him. He was English teacher in some school, but
Where is he?
He's dead. He's dead for many years. He's dead. He was old when we were young.
You could, while watching and hearing Petru Umansky, yeah, he was the guru, so to say.
The idea of Petru Umansky was to make a meeting like we go like club, but not club, where people to come and listen music and to talk about history of rock and roll, of Western rock and roll, our rock and roll.
Giving little lectures, but also giving you some tools, to analyze, because tools related to, for instance, messages, and also speaking about the music, because you hear it, and from hearing to listening and to understanding, you sometimes need more.
And then was this Markish, which was the organizer and administrator, and but he was also a music lover, and he likes music, and we are thankful for him, even if he was a guy from the regime.
Do you know Ionel Markish, who is the guy who...
Markish.
Ionel Markish.
Did you know him?
Yeah, he was
I
he
saw
was
him.
behind
He
the whole
knew
thing.
him.
Yeah, he was the guy, right?
Yeah.
And he was security. That's what
And
he
it
was.
looks like he had some
No, but
connections.
I think they were trying to influence the young people, giving them a little bit of freedom, but still controlling what they get.
But it
So
sounded like Markish actually really liked rock and roll. Like, was that
I
your sense? or-
don't know. He was good in organizing.
How would
things,
we
but-
know
Yeah, I don't know.
if he really liked it, or it was just
His
for the
mission,
fame or
yeah,
mission or
I-
money making or controlling, or you never know.
It was kind
Anyway-
of slippery.
So first of all, there was this appetite of for taking it all in. We were hungry. There was that hunger, and actually, it's hunger for culture, in my opinion. On the other hand, when you see a character that's too loud, too vocal, too friendly, too, I don't know, so somehow peculiar in immersing and very talkative, and especially in those times, there was a question sign. That's a little bit too much.
Are you
maybe.
talking about Markish or Umansky?
No, Markish.
Oh, Markish, yeah.
And some other informers, because this is how, okay, let's find out more. And
But this blows my mind. Like, everybody knew,
yeah,
right? Everybody knew what was going on. Everybody knew that
yeah.
there were informers there.
Mhm.
I mean, am I right in thinking that he really wanted to bring rock and roll to you guys?
Yes. So he was a man with a mission.
Yeah, to be allowed to organize this musical program, which was Western oriented and free, you must have some ideological elements, and on the paper that looks good. They began the program putting some loud music, and young people entered the club, and then they stopped the music and said, "Now the Professor Escu will told you something about our present work and so on." And after the 15 minutes, music, loud music. There I received 15 minutes to fulfill to put that music, to say a few words. We listen now from a new group from Belgrade or from Zagreb or from Yugoslavia, from Novi Sad. But they allowed to happen because they were conscious that young people need some relaxing in that way, not to accumulate tension, a tension which can explode against the regime, against the system. I recorded on cassette tapes the newest music from Yugoslavian radio. The Clash, the Stranglers. And this club, after, I don't know, few months, we said, maybe it was good to have in our program a part which is live music.
Almost every time one band played there in the hall of Casa Tineretului. They put a scene there and were concert with Metamorph, with Cargo, with Autostop, with Frolian din Transilvania.
At every session there were 800 until 1,000 people there.
You know, in '79, The Wall comes out, the film of Pink Floyd. Yeah. We saw it like this. Ionel Marques decided he's gonna put on from VH1 cassette to make a small advertise. The Wall is gonna be in next Saturday, and there coming something like 700-800 people in that hall, and we look at the movie and the two black and white television put up there like this, and if you go inside, you never heard just the movie. Nobody. 2 hours, I don't know how much it's 1 hour and a half. Nobody say nothing. We just.
And when we put on program The Wall by Pink Floyd, then it was, you know the story. Then it was full house. It was about 1,500, maybe 2,000 people there. It was very crowded, and we put 3 monitors hanged from the ceiling, and all the people was there looking. So, and the sound was through PA, and the sound was muddy, and the image on the monitor was not so clear, and it was horrible conditions to see a movie, a Pink Floyd movie in that way.
Yeah.
But people was The Wall, Pink Floyd. It was all the Timișoara was vibrating for that.
What were you thinking when you saw The Wall for the first time?
This for us was like a shock. We think it's an anti-Nazi film. We think we didn't understand what the fuck is happening. But after it's finished this, the guys start to have problem because they call them on the high in the Consiliul Județean there, and call them, and what you are doing there? You make no. The movie, it's about capitalism. It's about the capitalism is very bad. We want to see that movie. Why they do like fascists there, and they have big problem.
After that, the security alerted the communist kulturniks, and they said, we need the transcript, translation. What are they talking in that movie?
Wait, the Securitate didn't know? They didn't speak?
Yes, they know, but they said, the Wall was a kind of, but it was a problem with the education. We don't need no education. We don't need no thought control. This clicked to them. It's not good for us. Not good for our ideology. No thought control. We want to have thought control on people from Romania. Show the wall, but we will show also the Pompeii concert and other videos. I know Markish bring, and we didn't like it at all. He'd bring the film about ABBA, and for us ABBA was vax. It was commercial. It was something. We were angry. How to show ABBA on that club, which was the club with rock, with Jimi Hendrix, with Deep Purple, with Led Zeppelin, with Pink Floyd, and ABBA. It was inconceivable for us. Yes.
So why did Markish bring like
he was wise to show the authorities that look, ABBA was something accepted. It was on Eurovision Song Contest, and the Kulturniks said, "Oh, ABBA, it's good for young people." The ABBA were clean, were not long hair, and
nice people. Not rock.
And,
so, but did people? This is hilarious. So did people show up for the ABBA?
Yeah, the usual suspects were there.
And Mimo, because the police, the militia in that time, start to think the punkers are against their fascists, because they when they dance, they are with hands out, and they look what they wear, you know, where the madness, how they look, the madness with short pants, white socks and stuff like this. They come in when it's happening. It was a moment like a discotheque. Somebody put music and everybody, what we talk, what we dance, but it was a time when Mimo put just punk music or new wave music. First time I hear their Stranglers, for the first time I heard that Sex Pistols and Madness and this kind of stuff. From the cassette he put the music, and the punkers from Timișoara, they wait for that moment. They come dressed well, like outside Skinners, ska boys, ska things. They come dressed like this, and they start to dance, and everybody like this, they dance, and we look at them, because we are hippies and they are punkers in that time. I wear a parka, you understand? Everybody in Timișoara who listen music had a parka. Without parka you are nothing.
I made some connections with these young people's punk music followers and the new electronic music with The Cure, Depeche Mode, and with Stranglers, and they some of them came to my house to exchange some cassettes, some music. They came with a cassette and said, "Oh, this is the music we appreciate the best." It was DAF, Deutsch-Amerikanische Franchise. It was a kind of electronic punk, dance music. And they give me the cassette. I listened to them and I said, "Hey, you can put one song from here in the club. We will come with our friends, and we are mad about that." This was I listened and I was aware. I know it was Tanz der Mussolini. And Markish came to me, "Hey, you put some Nazi music, some Mussolini." I said, no, look, this is my cassette, this is the playlist, because they gave me the cassette. It was fitted to beginning of the song until the end. The song ended, they danced like crazy. I took off the cassette from player, I gave them the cassette, and I put my cassette there and continued the program with Madness, with Selector, and so. And Markish said, "Oh, but they say that it played." And look, I don't have any other cassette. And I give him the cassette. He took the cassette and so, what the hell? Somebody is crazy here. He knows, Markish knows that in the crowd were informers. or people who listened and told to Securitatea guys what was happening in the club. And some of them even were informers which write.
He believes you and not the informers.
Because he didn't found anything. It was not evidence. It was not evidence of that. Nobody recorded it.
That is one of the most remarkable stories I've ever heard.
Yeah. Eric, we said this was fun, but it was not only fun, because these two young brothers, which gave me the cassette, were took to interrogation in the Securitatea because the informants, some of the informants, know what was the source. Know that these two young brothers listened to this neo-Nazi music, so-called neo-Nazi music, and they came to me at my house. I don't know, a month or so after, and they were so, and they said, "You told them what we did about us. You told them about us." And I said, "What to told? Whom to told?" Securitatea. Wow, I said, "No way. I didn't. They took us and they didn't say they beat them or something like that, but we had huge problems to get thrown out from the school, and so, and our mother had problems with the documents to go in Germany. The Securitatea said that we will never reach Germany, and so, and somebody of the informants said to Securitatea that they promote, they listen to, they like this neo-Nazi music.
Did you ever feel like when you went to PM6 or when you were playing rock and roll, did you ever feel like it was like you could get in trouble for it, or it was dangerous?
Oh, we got in trouble.
When you were walking out from
they would cut your hair. Or,
they will ask your papers, identity, why you were here at this hour. They were allowed to take you at the police station, militia, yeah.
But you still went.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, with us, it happened is what if you weren't talking nice with them. So if you had the courage to backtalk, then they would take you.
Or being a girl during that time, they try to humiliate you, to make the things to look like you are a prostitute, that you walk at this hour on the streets in Tovaresha. Why are you here? Identity card now. And they were even allowed to take you to have a medical examination.
I remember I was, interestingly, very shy at the beginning when I first went there, because it was somehow, entering a bigger world, but you didn't, or I didn't know exactly how to define it, but I have the very strong feeling that it was a bigger family. So it was somehow a family, because we would, resonate, thinking the same, and basically wanting the same. We knew, many of us, about the others.
Everybody wants to belong somewhere, to a group. And here in these groups were a sense of really, really closeness. Even if you didn't know the other guy, you instantly felt comfortable with,
All my friends and all my future customers and all my know people, they are still living. We know each other because of that place. That was our world, like.
Any story about rock and roll, revolution, and Timișoara must begin with geography. Because geography itself may have cast the city in the lead role of Romania's 1989 uprising. Located near the Hungarian and Yugoslav borders, Timișoara has long been a crossroads of cultures. Unlike much of Romania, it maintained close ties to the West. Rock records pressed in Yugoslavia were smuggled across the border, while emigres sent back music, clothes, and films, feeding a vibrant, underground culture that was at odds with Ceausescu's repression. This culture had a geography of its own in the Elizabeth, Josephine, and student complex neighborhoods just across the Bega River from the city center. And at its heart was Piazza Maria, where the revolution began as poet Ion Monneron stopped the tram and urged passengers to join the protest protecting Pastor Laszlo Tokes. A revolutionary rock scene had been building in Timișoara since the 1960s. Phoenix, the city's most famous export, began with British invasion covers but shifted in the 1970s to a blend of folklore and progressive rock to outmaneuver the censors, confusing authorities who admired the folklore but feared the rock. Their defiance peaked after founding member Nicu Kovac emigrated from Romania and then returned to sneak some of the other members of the band out of the country, hidden in amplifiers. Pro Musica, founded in 1973, mixed styles and challenged the regime with prison and hospital concerts, later performing their anthem, Timișoara, from the Opera House balcony during the revolution. Cargo, formed in 1985, brought hard rock and sharp political anthems, with guitarist Tavi Pan penning the blistering Brigadieri. Beneath these headliners was a network of underground bands, Autostop, Sector 3, Metamorph, playing in discos and factory clubs with scarce equipment and constant surveillance. Making music in Ceausescu's Romania meant risk for the artists, their friends, and their families. By the 1980s, Timișoara's rock culture was more than music. It was resistance. And when the revolution came in December of 1989, that spirit was already alive. There were plenty of bands in Timișoara in the early 1980s, and there were plenty of bands that expressed discontent with the regime. But in 1979, a group of teenagers came together to form a band that would become an underground legend in Timișoara's late communist era. That band was Metamorph, and while they never had official records or wide exposure, they became a voice for their city, writing songs that captured the reality, the humor, and the quiet rebellion of life under Ceausescu. On an autumn evening in 1985, the band took the stage at the Hungarian State Theater and delivered one of the most mythologized concerts of that era in Timișoara. There was a concert at the Hungarian Theater in 1987 that
Yes.
people talk a lot about.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Can you please tell me, Emil has told me about it, Mimo has told me about it.
Yes,
You
that-
were playing there.
yes,
Were you there
that-
too, Mirella?
No.
she was too.
No, I was too small,
Yeah,
too
what
young.
went on
Kiddo.
there?
So that was Metamorph.
But that's already legendary. So he's the culprit here. And
Yes, it was monumental.
And if you go in that concert, I was there, for sure. In that, if you are going inside and you look, you're gonna say, "I'm not in Romania. I'm somewhere in a very strange place, but not in Romania."
What happened there? Why do people keep talking about that concert? Like how did you experience, I guess?
Because I believe because all the bands they were more traditional rock bands, and we I'm Fost. We were the crazy kids
on the block.
on the block. It was something new with the arrival of new wave punk. So
everybody from all the musicians, the band was traditionally rock, and from nowhere you have 15 years kids, and from nowhere it was another style. Nobody heard. We were two bands in Romania playing like this. It was us and Timpuri Noi. That's why I told you, if you are in that room, in that hall, and they play, I think if one guy from Iași or from Bucharest was inside, after this he goes, what the fuck? Where is this? This is not my country. Where I am? This is not my country. Because what has happened here wasn't connected with anything politics or anything you know from the normal life in Romania. And all this stuff was the ideas of Tavi Yepan. He's with this in that time. That's why I told you to listen music. Maybe if you listen to the music of Tavi Yepan, say, this is it's a mainstream blah 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 rock and roll. But wasn't important that the lyrics was important and what he say in the lyrics and what you understand from the lyrics, because the lyrics said that your life, for example, it's not like this. Your life it's great, but actually your life is shitty, and you know that. And when he sings your life is great, you say, oh, fuck.
For it's hard to imagine in communism was dictator what was in that time and such a concept, you know.
Yeah.
But we make music. We are young and we want to play.
It's hard to explain because they make things like happenings. One guys they play in the front and one guy in the back goes with the picture of Ceausescu, goes from here to there, and two other guys take a letter and they have it in the back and goes and play and
But take a what?
They take a walk. This is the stage like this, and in the back of them, the friends of them, they make this kind of stuff.
They're carrying pictures of Ceausescu to say like fuck you.
Something like that. But for us, was like, what the fuck?
Somebody told the story how a guy which lived in Germany, and he was from here, from Timișoara, but was emigrated in Germany. And he came, he was at the concert, and he began to throw the Deutschmarks in the audience and created a kind of rush there, a kind of anarchy movement. And you know that story?
We go inside the theater. We go inside.
So this is you walking into the
theater. Now we go on the stage. It was this picture, and we go also in the stage with these pictures, you know. And I cut the light, and now start the show. Și ideea a fost atunci să facem un film cu trupa care umblă prin oraș.
The idea was to make
ajunge la teatru,
a short movie with the group
which
backstage
with Metamorph.
Walking, yes. Metamorph walking through the city, through the center of the city, and entering the
backstage
place,
and after there on the stage.
And on stage, yeah. And so, this was the beginning of the concert.
Yeah.
And then they have a show with directed and conceptual with some characters dancing and making some strange moves.
And the second element in that show was that our photographer, a fat guy called Photo Monster, he was carried by two paramedics in a stretcher on the scene. And when they came into the middle of the scene, we played the concert. He just jumped out, took his photo machine and took some photos about the people, presented himself, laid back, and they took him out.
Guy, a friend of the group was there laying on that gurney.
And then they put it on
They put
drop
it on,
him.
drop him on stage. And he was in some hazy state and
go
he
to
came to microphone
and talk
and began to talk something, but the guy from the sound make it to not
hear what he said.
Because he said something anti-regime.
Yes, it did. We thought at the beginning we'd like to send him down on a cable from the upstairs of the stage, but the guy was so heavy, he was over 100 kilograms, and he was afraid of the height. And then we had to find another shocking moment, and then Tavi came with this idea that the paramedics would carry him in, he was covered with a white sheet. He looked like a person from an accident, on the way to the hospital.
Well, was it planned for? Did he really scream anti-regime things into the microphone? Or what was he saying?
What I remember, not too much, but I remember that he started yelling to them that, "Hi, I'm Photo Monster. I came here to make you feel live." And probably at this moment, a few words still, a few sentences still, and then they clipped his voice. They stopped his channel, they muted him. The guys who made the sound didn't knew about this. It was a shock for them that they appeared on the scene like this, And they couldn't realize, they couldn't thought that this is real, that this is what we wanted to do.
Something like that was performance art combined with rock concert.
Is it true? Is it safe to say that nothing like that had ever been done in
No.
Timișoara before?
As I know, in that time, no.
In Timișoara were many premieres, many things done first time in Romania regarding this kind of culture, pop culture, generally, not only music.
He was a bit mad, a bit, and he was all the time. He stayed a long time in the hospitals, so that was the reason that it's probably that he wanted to speak about politics because he didn't care. He had the paper that he's not.
He had the paper. Wait. He had papers saying that he was like.
That he was psychically disturbed. I don't know what kind of disease he had, but he was totally free. He didn't care about nobody. And we knew that, so that's why we used him for this role, because we knew that he would make it. It was a big deal for him, this. He was so happy to make it.
So there were no informers in the audience.
Oh, a lot, I think.
But there were,
but
they were drunk.
But when you start the show, they can get you only after the show.
Yeah, because if they intervene during the show, you can create a riot. It can be a riot, violence and so on. Yeah. And nobody took the responsibility. I think nobody from the authorities, not the militia, not Securitatea, not the Communist Party activists, they didn't want to be responsible for a riot. They made arrests only after that, when they have from their informants this stories of what happened there, and they know this name, another name, and they took them to station and they interrogated them.
And what I really, I know nothing about it, that outside the theater, the army came with the police together because they were expecting rebel yell, you know. They were expecting scandal.
Yeah.
But I didn't saw any policeman or any army guy in uniform at that concert. Inside.
There were a lot of movements in the audience. They began to dance, to shout, to have some anarchic behavior and so. But militia came
After the show.
They look at that. They look what it is. They saw that it was kind of anarchy, and they went out.
După aia i-au arestat
And
câțiva
they came some other groups of militia
to take some people.
yeah.
Yes.
But they didn't intervene.
Not inside.
Not inside.
And Tavi told me that the last song you played, the blonde alligator, the Lo 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 song, and that there was a curtain that opened up in the back, and there were people like your friends were in the back, and they were all singing the Lo. Is that right? How did that go? The end.
I think it just happened.
It just happened. Okay.
It just happened because there were so many at that concert, and I remember that we were so proud because we heard that people came from Berlin, from Germany, from Hungary, from abroad, you know, they came to see us.
And in the final, in the end of the concert, being on theater stage, there were these cortinas.
Din spatele trupei, din spatele.
And in the
și acolo
back
erau pe podium
band,
toți prietenii noștri care cântau fără text, numai lo lo lo.
This background was getting up, and there were sitting, standing a lot of friends of the band who stayed there, drink some beer, and in the end they were kind of chorus and singing only lo 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 lo. Everybody, about 30 or I don't know, maybe more than 30 guys and girls.
When you cannot use the words, you
invent.
only lo 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 lo.
So when you did,
It was a big hit, underground hit, of course. Yeah. Not on the radio.
I remember at the end of the show, the stage was full with the audience. So we had the song, and I don't know. One of the guys came up to the stage, and everybody. The stage was full. Lo 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 lo.
It was a kind of not revolution. They can never call that revolution, but protest.
Yeah.
It was a kind of protest, and the way of protesting was to come to the road band and see our concert, you know. It was anti-regime, but not in that heavy manner, because I didn't like the system at all. I was not sympathizing with communists, and I couldn't sympathize with the country leadership who couldn't give us food to eat and gasoline to drive our cars. So I mean, and to have electricity in our homes, and we didn't have any heating in our houses during the winter. So I considered them nothing. I considered them bullshit.
What we made with music, with the lyrics,
I think it takes a little bit of, unconsciousness, and in my opinion, and I totally agree with him, you gotta be a little bit crazy, but in the best and most beautiful way, because you have to dare to be brave enough to step over and dare to do something against, and against at that time was against the regime, against because otherwise it probably wouldn't have happened.
The stakes were high.
The stakes were really high. Yeah.
We were in their vision.
Yeah.
Of the authorities. We were in their vision all the time. Because they were afraid of young people, you know. In every state, in every society, doesn't matter which one. South American or Asian, it's always the pupils, the students who make scandal.
Yeah. Yeah.
They are going out on the street and make revolutions, not the old persons, not the feminist who has already children and has house and dog. They don't do that. So that's why they had an extra eye on us, what we were doing.
That's the point. Unconscious.
No, unconscious. Yeah,
Unconscious, young and stupid.
And that's why I try to push everything to humor. To instead of being angry, your reaction after you were reading a text, the lyrics. I worked on it a lot to make it somehow to end the story somehow that you can laugh on it.
After the concert, few weeks, Dixie it's emigrate to Germany.
Oh, he left.
Other two guys they take to the army from the band.
That was the end of Metamorph.
That was the end. Yes.
So, did rock and roll and the vibrant rock and roll culture that existed in Timișoara in the 1970s and the 1980s have anything to do with the political revolution that began there in 1989? Of course, there's no way of knowing for sure, but over the 5 months that I spent living in Timișoara, I asked a lot of different people their opinions about this question, and I got a lot of different answers.
It was very clear what happened there in front of that church, in that small street, because that evening in 16th December, it was practically a group of rockers who started the riot. It was not a big riot.
But
Yeah.
it starts with rock and roll.
It started with rock and roll. Yeah, I told you these two guys. They stopped one poet and one drunk, but both of them were rockers, and all the rockers were there.
So what else is going on?
This is, in my opinion, in Timișoara, first 2 days was the rockers revolution, not the normal people. The normal people was all scared. You understand?
Being bohemians, being rockers, there was something in the evening to drink, some beers and so. And when they came with the tram, some of them said, "Hey, here is the Turkish situation. Let's get out and make some noise." And they get off the tram, and one of them, who was, as they say, pretty drunk, shout, let's block the trams to cannot get further. So all the trams that came after that were also blocked there, and the people, the mass was growing, and from 50, 100 people, there were in a moment, in a few minutes, about 1,000 of people.
Like, when you are a revolutionary, you know what you do. You do with a purpose. For us, wasn't the really purpose. For us, was like this. We are crazy people, crazy young people who loves. By the way, we love rock and roll. You understand?
And they mentioned the Calvinian Church and the Laszlo Tökös. They said there were his believers, the believers of that church. They don't say, but believers didn't provoke nothing. They were there only to watch what is happening with their priest. They were from culture, this alternative culture. They were with rock music, with poetry, with bohemian behavior, sitting and debating in the bars, in the public places.
At that time, so in 89, I was already having that, let's call it, rebel spirit as many of us did, and this was grounded exactly on this, rock and roll music. Well, we were somehow empowered spiritually, in my opinion, by that.
Do you see any relationship between? Is there any relationship between the rock and roll culture that was a part of this city and the fact that the revolution started?
No. It was how to say it, au dus oamenii la limită.
Okay, so people already lost their patience at that time. They were somehow desperate.
Their attempt limit.
One of these guys, he was Hungarian nationality, Romanian citizen. He entered the church and said to the others, look, when I will appear in the window and you will see me, I will shout freedom, libertate, and you then shout after me. And he did that, and these few rockers, about, I don't know, they were 10 or 12, something like that, they began to shout, and the other people was in awe. Oh, how somebody had the courage to shout libertate, libertate, freedom, freedom. And then someone shout jos comunismul, down the communism. And they say it was the poet Ion Monoran who is deceased.
But if you ask me, not the rockers. The rockers didn't start the insurrection.
Yeah.
No. They attended, but they were not the fire starters.
It just matched so well, this whole surreal situation we had around us in the society. To mix this up with heavy electric guitars, it's perfect, because you have this this energy that you have to give out, or anger, that's the better word.
Yeah.
Anger against the society that you want to give out. But we couldn't say that directly, that we are against you and we want you to die out and we want another capitalist society. It wasn't possible. And combining these things, electric guitars and the sound of the electric guitar, it's already a revolution since the 60s in the whole world. And that's what we had as a tool in our hand, combined with these lyrics.
Yes, I think it's logic, because Timișoara, being in the western part of Romania, near the Hungarian and Serbian border, we could receive on TV all the Serbian transmissions, TV, and Hungarian, all the radio transmissions on radio from Hungary and from Serbia. So, on the TV, we saw everything what was happening in Europe in that year. So it was expected that the wave to arrive also in Romania, starting with the falling of the Berlin Wall and the Czechoslovakia and Polonia and Hungary, and so it was logic to come. The sense of freedom, the desire for freedom, and the desire for the things which you saw from the outside, it was probably bigger here than in other parts of cities, and that may be determined. And we think about this area of Romania was the main part where people would cross the border, try to go to
Escape.
Germany. I mean, many musicians did that, good friends of ours. Some got caught 2-3 times, got beaten up, and finally they made it. So think about these stories would go from mouth to mouth, and people would knew this. And this builds up a mentality, a desire for, to escape, to go into freedom. So obviously when that chance happened, with the priest, with Turkish, it's obvious that everybody sensed that now is the moment to do something. But usually, I think these things happen pretty, how should I say, spontaneous. And
It
it's
has
more
a spontaneous side with young, naive people, and it was another side manipulated from up there, from Russia.
What was that? But these few rockers, they started the riot. They started the riot. They blocked the trams. They shout first, and they motivated the people around them to shout freedom.
Freedom, you must fight each day for freedom, because when you're not focused, in short time you go in another way, and we know how it ends.
That's for sure.
Yes.
Să-ți astâmpere, frica să-ți o vânture, plictiseala